7-0. A field goal by Morton Anderson late in the second quarter. Other than that, it was a defensive touchdown, and Randy Cross, it was a beauty. The longest fumble recovery return for a touchdown in Saints history. Sam Mills headed for the Pro Bowl, a work of beauty.
And set up very well by Frank Warren, holding on Sweeney in the middle. And Mills comes around completely free, knocks it out, gets a great bounce. And it's one of the two things you're going to see in this second half. You're going to see a very aggressive, very opportunistic Saints defense. And you're going to see a Saints quarterback in Bobby Hebert throwing high percentage passes and taking all the time he can off the clock every single play. He'll let that play clock go down to 1 every time.
Saints are doing it mostly through the air, only 5 yards rushing. And the ball control for the Jets, because in the first quarter they held the ball for most of it. The Saints' first play was a fumble by Hilliard. There have been 4 turnovers in the game, and the only one that mattered was the fumble return for a touchdown by Mills.
Yeah, they've each had 2 turnovers, and the only 2 that have counted have been the ones that the Saints have been able to take advantage. And, you know, Sam Mills is a guy that I know when he first came in the league, we looked at him on tape and physically looked at him on the field, and I said, 5'9", 220 pounds, can't play in the NFL. Well, you can't really hit what you can't catch. And when he catches the guys that have the ball, he can put a lick on people. Vaughn Johnson's got the reputation of being a guy that can really knock people off their feet. But this is the quarterback of the defense. Most teams, it's a free safety or something. For the Saints, it's that guy right there.
Originally property of the Cleveland Browns, went to the Canadian Football League, and then the USFL. That's where Vaughn Johnson played as well. Jim Mora, of course, coached the Philadelphia team and brought several people over, including Mills, free agent in '86, and he has paid dividends. His 4th Pro Bowl, and he has accounted for the only touchdown. Morton Anderson kicking off as we start the second half, and kicks it through the end zone, and the Jets will start from the 20-yard line. So Browning Nagel, who suffered a twisted knee and finished the first half wearing a brace. And if you look at Nagel's numbers, they weren't bad at all. 9 of 16 for 79 yards, and he'll lead the Jets here. No, he's not going to lead them. They are bringing out Jeff Blake. So Nagel apparently must have had that knee tighten on him, Randy, because Jeff Blake now is going to handle things in the second half.
Well, in these conditions, it's not hard to imagine that knee would get stiff. And what you have to look at is the Jets have got to scrap their regular passing game. They've got to really go to high percentage, because Blake could not effectively run the offense in the first half.
Blake was 1 for 3 for 3 yards and threw an interception right into the hands of Toy Cook. First down, A.B. Brown trying to go outside. And ridden out of bounds by Gene Atkins, and a gain of 5 yards. Looking at the total yards by quarter, Jets -5 in the second half, and that's that Saints defense kicking in.
That and the fact that they had a quarterback change, and when Nagel was in there, he was ineffective and less than mobile after the knee injury, and Blake really didn't do very much when he had his chance. And you just saw absolutely the best friend of Jeff Blake, and that is a running game. You got to get a running game for a young quarterback like that can buy him some time and buy him some confidence.
6th-round draft pick out of East Carolina. The quick toss to Ron Moore, and they rule it incomplete. That was the kind of a play that Browning Nagel started the game with the big hitch pattern quickly to Moore. Toy Cook got wise to it in the first quarter and wise to it here.
And if he's going to throw this against this defense, you better make this a rope. Don't take any chances throwing this thing any softer than that one right there from Blake, because if you do, Toy Cook will get that ball if he hangs it up in the air at all.
Browning Nagel came out late from the Jets dressing room, and he's now on the sideline. So we'll see whether he gets back in the game. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Jets on their 25. Opening minute of play in the second half. 10-0 the Saints. Blake looking for room, and he's going to run for it. Now he decides to throw, and Moore has it, and it's a first down, but a penalty marker down as well.
He went past the line of scrimmage, then went back to throw the pass.
I don't think he can do it. When I said he ran for it, he was actually running for it, and that'll be a loss of down as well. So that will nullify an 11-yard pickup.
Bruce has got his hands up like, okay, fine, what else can we do wrong?
Illegal forward pass. Quarterback crossed the line of scrimmage, came back and passed, lost it down. 5 yards.
So it's a 5-yard penalty, and Louis Aguiar will enter and kick. And now there is Bruce Kozla talking to Nagel. He says, can you go? I'd like to have you in there after what I just saw.
He turned around and looked at that and turned around and looked at Nagel and goes, warm up. Went back and asked him, now be sure you're going to be ready because we are going to throw the ball. You got to warm up. Now, Aguiar kicking right into this wind that's actually started to blow harder. Watch, if he gets it in the air, it's going to hang. He's got to line drive this kick and make it roll.
Aguiar kicking from the 5, and Newman is back deep for the Saints, ready to charge in case there's a low kick. Got off a real good one considering the wind. It knocks it down, and it will die at about the 43. It was down by Paul Fraze at the 42, and another penalty marker down. And this will be against the Jets, I believe, and an eligible receiver downfield. So Aguiar, who really got off a great one considering the wind, may have to do it all over again.
Oh, I think you got to make them kick that one again, especially in these conditions.
Ineligible downfield. Number 91 of the kicking team. 5 yards. Repeat, 4th down.
Bruce Browning Nagel is warming up on the Jets sideline. So Nagel apparently will be coming in the next time the Jets get the ball. As we said, he had a very fine first half, 9 for 16 for 79 yards.
And here's a great opportunity for the New Orleans Saints to get some nice field position, because it's extremely difficult for a punter to kick 2 kicks in a row like Aguiar did that last one. That last one, he drove that thing just perfectly. Then the wind knocked it down. Can he do it twice in a row? I don't know.
Now kicking from the goal line, and Newman is standing at midfield. So the Saints, barring something unforeseen, should get good field position. Gets off an end-over-end kick that drives in Jet territory. Crowd booing. I don't know how they could be booing Aguiar kicking into this stiff wind. But when you're 4-11 and you pay your way in and you show up, you can do anything you want. That kick went 20 yards. The jumping back, Bobby Hebert, the quarterback. And letting that clock run down. Hilliard gets a big hole up the middle and picks up 5 yards. R.J. Kors, the free safety, making the tackle. So this is where Bobby Hebert and the Saints shorten the game.
You watch their huddle. See what, there's no sense of urgency in that huddle right now. And the reason there's no sense of urgency is that clock will get down under 3 seconds 9 times out of 10 when Bobby Hebert is running this offense. See him standing at the line? He doesn't want to snap the ball. He wants to get as much time as possible.
12 seconds now. In the 49ers game in San Francisco, he let it get down to about a second. And here is Hayward fighting his way inside the 30, short of a first down. Mo Lewis on the tackle. 3-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd and a long one for the Saints.
And they are well within Morton Anderson's field goal range right now, because right now you're talking about a 46-yard field goal, and Morton Anderson can kick 46-yard field goals with his right leg, much less his left leg.
There's Morton Anderson, who has kicked 19 consecutive field goals. It'll be 3rd down and 2 on the 29-yard line. Saints gained only 5 yards rushing in the first half. They've got 2 tight ends. Hebert to throw on 3rd and short, and the pass is caught by Eric Martin, and the Saints get a first down inside the 25. Kyle Clifton, and a pickup of 5 yards for Martin, who has caught 60 or more passes in each of his last 5 years.
Well, Martin is used by this Saints offense much like Sterling Sharp is by the Green Bay Packers. They'll bring him in motion, they move him around, and he catches the little things. And it's his job to get the yards after the catch and to catch the ball. He's the guy, he's a possession guy. Terry Bradshaw referred to him in the NFL today, you know, a possession receiver. In some cases, that's an insult. To an Eric Martin, it's not an insult, it's his bread and butter.
1st and 10 at the 24. Saints with the wind at their back, leading 10-0. Hebert looking at his pass. Little extension on Martin. Some of the Jet defenders, and I think that Mike Grimm and Eric Martin got into a little kicking kung fu match down there.
Well, Martin didn't appreciate the hit after the ball flies by him, but watch this. Little hesitation. He is wide open. That's the hit that Martin didn't appreciate. And Bobby Hebert does not appreciate the fact that he missed him.
Brian Washington defending as well as Brim. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10 from the 24. Bobby Hebert, who was a little perturbed, we could sense in his voice, in not being named to the Pro Bowl. It was Young and Aikman and Brett Favre as the alternate. Hebert wanted it. So on 2nd down and 10, Hebert's pass is tipped and it's intercepted. R.J. Coors returning for the Jets. And he falls down at about the 27-yard line. James Hasty got his hands on it first. There's Pete Carroll, the Jet defensive coordinator. And the interception by Coors is his first of the year. So Mo Lewis and R.J. Coors each with their first picks of the year. The brace protecting the twisted right knee. Jets are starting from their 27-yard line, and A.B. Brown up the middle crosses the 30-yard line. And a gain of 4 yards with Frank Warren on the tackle. Nagel with a record this year of 3-10 in his 13 starts. Last week had his career long pass 48-yard touchdown to Moore against Miami. And of course you see the 90 with the Christian sign inside the 90, and that's for Dennis Byrd. Football just a part of the Jets' life this year. The injury to Dennis Byrd really took center stage. 2nd down and 6, and here is Brown trying to turn the corner outside, and he gets to the 35-yard line, and that will bring up 3rd and short. Dennis Byrd was injured in week 13, suffered partial paralysis. He had the spinal surgery, and he has so far been a tremendous inspiration. In fact, the Jets have started the Dennis Byrd Inspiration Award, in which he is the first recipient, and they made a video this holiday and sent it to him. He has been a big provider of spirit for this Jet team, and they have banded about him, and he has shown some movement that few people have at this stage.
He's doing very well, and according to Frank Ramos, their public relations director, one of the highlights of a little tape they did for him was Mala Mala's Tongan war chant he did for Byrd. Byrd got a great big kick out of that.
3rd down and 2 at the 35-yard line, and Nagel's pass is dropped by Burkett. Well, the fans have a right now to be displeased because the Jets getting an opportunity off that interception are foiled here, and will have to kick.
And it had the beginnings of a good-looking drive, a couple of runs, a nice high-percentage pass they've done repeatedly, and there's just no excuse. That ball just goes right through Burkett's hands.
Aguiar will be kicking. And there is Patrick Newman back deep for the Saints to make sure that there are 10 other people up front for his team. Just under 10 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter here at Giant Stadium. It's 10-0 in favor of the New Orleans Saints.
Well, Patrick Newman was making sure the Saints had 11. Aguiar looked up and found out he didn't have 11.
Enter A.B. Brown. And now he may have a delay of the game, obviously, after all that time.
Offense,
5-yard penalty
yards.
will be assessed against the Jets. Getting back to Dennis Byrd, they say that he has some feeling in the right leg, a little bit in the left, and could move a couple of the fingers. Marvin Washington, of course, was his roommate and was over there to see him at Mount Sinai Hospital.
And he's got a long, tough, arduous rehab ahead of him, as Mike Utley has found out in the last year or so, the former Detroit Lion player. But, you know, with the kind of attitude and the approach of a Dennis Byrd, I think there's a guy that's got nowhere to go mentally but positive the entire time.
Bearcats called for by Newman, and you couldn't ask for more from Aguiar on that kick into the wind. It went 36 yards, but the big thing was no return by the Saints. You think they're a little cold on the sideline? Wrap up the home field advantage, and that's important, playing on the artificial turf in the Superdome next week in the wild card. They lead 10-0 and have a first down on their 35. Craig Hayward is the running back. 3 wide receivers for the Saints. Hasty is following Eric Martin as he moves left. Here's Hayward. He has some room coming left. And Craig Hayward barrels his way into Jet territory. inside the 45-yard line, and a gain of 22 yards with Mo Lewis and Brian Washington defending on the play.
In order to not give the illusion of dominance, the Saints need a running game, and this is the kind of running play the Saints need. Good blocking, good running. Goodness, look at the size of that guy. I mean, the back's as impressive as the front.
Ooh. You don't want him to get any kind of momentum going, and when he has the kind of spacing he had when he got the ball, you knew he was going to get something. He's replaced by Hilliard, getting a breather, and it is now 1st and 10 on the 43 of the Jets. Hilliard gets the call, and off right tackle up the middle. The Jets are trying to strip the ball, and Dalton Hilliard has a first down of 11 yards with Washington defending on the play. This is a team that managed only 5 yards rushing in the first half. They got more in the last 2 plays, and there is an injury down. A Jet player is shaken up.
And we've got this just great offensive line blocking on the run going right here on the play from New Orleans. And that is what will give New Orleans an opportunity to physically just take this ball game over. The lack of running game was what was keeping the Jets, giving the Jets at least the illusion of being in this game. The defense will not let the Jets score, and the way to get that completely the message across is to get the running game going for the Saints, and that's how you get a team like the Jets at 4-11, despite what the defense is doing against them, just to give up.
Kyle Clifton will replace Mo Lewis, who left on his own power. Average yards on first down. The Saints very nearly have a first down on first down. They are at the 32-yard line of the Jets with less than 8.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Hayward, and they pick up the defender running left, and his pass is nearly intercepted by James Hasty, and he tipped it. And downfield, Bill Pickell. I don't know how Bill Pickell went 20 yards downfield and nearly picked up the tip.
And it was another example of Hebert running like he was to the left, just trying to throw a touch pass, lobbing that thing up. And I don't like the odds of getting a ball up in the air in these conditions. The things that happen to it. Nothing good seems like it's going to happen. Look at this ball gets in the air. Look at it moving left. It's being pushed by the wind to the left. Hasty. Great opportunity there to catch that ball. I mean, Pickell got his hands on it, but I don't like the odds of him catching.
Jets have intercepted 2 of Hebert's passes today. 2nd down and 10, and they go safely to Hilliard. And Hilliard is tackled from behind after picking up 8 yards by Bobby Houston. Dalton Hilliard, who is the 2nd leading rusher to Vaughn Dunbar, who has played briefly, the rookie from Indiana today.
And this is what the Saints need to do. The Saints need to just blast this ball inside and just take the time off the clock. We talked about that clock, and Bobby Hebert will use this clock. There's no urgency. Take the time off. Get whatever points you can. They're guaranteed with a Morton Anderson right now of 3 points on a 42-yard field goal. Take your points and let your defense back on the field.
8 seconds on the play clock. 3rd down and 2 for Hebert, and he's going to go to Hilliard. He's got the first down, Dalton Hilliard, and the tackle made by Marvin Washington, and a gain of 4 yards. So the Saints exhibiting ball control. Ironhead Hayward is going to check back in the game, and Hilliard will go out.
We saw Hebert earlier in the game in the first 3 plays, 1 run and then 2 play action passes. Now, if they bid on those play action passes without seeing a run, how much will they bite on a play action pass fake now?
They're on the 21-yard line of the Jets. Here's Hayward. He got 1 or 2 out of very little. He got about to the 19-yard line, and it was Brian Washington among others, and they're still wrestling inside. Well, you better get him. You better get his legs quickly if you're going to bring down Ironhead Hayward before he gets ahead of steam.
Well, there's not too many guys happy there. Hayward never really brought Hayward down. He decided to drop the ball and go after somebody after the whistle was blown. But, you know, if you're a defense and you have your choice, you want Craig Hayward stopping and trying to decide where he's going. I don't care how talented this young guy is and how well he does run with the ball. With that much weight, if you get him to stop, I mean, there were power plants here in this part of the country that can't generate enough power it takes sometimes to get that mass moving at full speed again. So you want him to stop and have to try to change direction.
There's the drive by the Saints. 7th play coming up. 2nd down and 8. Play fake here. See how they react after the good running. Hebert is going to throw the ball. It's going to be caught. And out of bounds is Quinn Early. And he'll have another 1st down for the Saints. A gain of 12 yards. So they're hunting and pecking away at the Jets, and with 5:45 remaining and clock running in the 3rd quarter, looking to add to their 10-0 lead.
And here on the 7-yard line is perfect. Just run the ball at your territory, plus play action fake. And you can't really even count that last play per se as a play action, because it was a very token kind of a effort at a play action fake by Hebert. He never got close to Dalton Hilliard.
1st and goal at the 7. To about the 3-yard line. Last time that the Saints got this close to scoring in the 1st half, Hebert threw a pass up the middle that was grabbed and intercepted by Mo Lewis in a terrific athletic play that snuffed out the only Saint bid for a touchdown in the 1st half.
But you don't look for too much of those same kind of plays. I mean, he threw that ball over the middle, and Mo Lewis made an unbelievably talented play to make that interception, prevent that tackle, but prevent that touchdown. I look for the Saints right here. They've got Hayward in the backfield with Hilliard right now. Just blasted.
3 tight ends, and you're not going to stop this guy. Craig Hayward in for the touchdown. The 1st offensive touchdown of the game, and the Saints now lead at 16-0, and for Hayward, his 3rd touchdown of the season.
That was brutal. That's about the only word I can think of. That was just, put the 200-pound running back in Dalton Hilliard as the lead back and give it to the 270-ish, 80-ish, 90-ish pound fullback and let him go. And 2 or 3 guys tried to hit him, but they were just bugs going off the front of that semi.
Morton Anderson is aboard, and Tommy Barnhart will hold with 4:28 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And it's now 17-0 in favor of the New Orleans Saints. Ironhead Hayward from the University of Pittsburgh with his touchdown. 2 yards. No way. Mo Lewis, they're back on your heels. 17-0 with 4:28 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Morton Anderson kicking off deep into the end zone. Terrence Mathis going to run it? No. He started to run, but he couldn't get by A.B. Brown. So you're not getting by me.
Watch the entire side of the New Orleans Saints offense take everything this way, then watch Mo Lewis come in that way. You know, you seen that old Laurel and Hardy thing about the runaway piano down the staircase? Here's what happens when you're at the bottom of the staircase. That piano hits you. Mo Lewis just found out.
17-0. Coslett must go. Ray must go. Who's going to stay?
Who really wants to be a head coach here in New York when things aren't going good? Nobody. No one in their right mind that doesn't like hot pokers shoved up under their nails wants to be a head coach when things are going bad.
1st down and 10 from the 20. Nagel running for his life. Out of bounds. It was Ricky Jackson who chased him from behind. Of course, Bruce Coslett, the one thing you can say about Coslett, who I think is said the team was going to win this year, that was before all the injuries, the tragedy, and the problems that they had, is that this team has not bickered amongst themselves once. They have not pointed fingers, and I think that is something that Bruce Coslett can build on going into next year, although the Jets are going to have to show something there.
Well, I think you can draw an analogy between the Jets of last year and the Packers of this year. The Packers are not that good. If they make the playoffs, it's a great accomplishment, but they still have a lot of bodies to replace. And the Jets made it last year, and they still have a lot of bodies to replace.
2nd down and 15, and the pass to Rob Moore is caught. Moore dives forward, and they have a 1st down. Appears to have it. Jimmy Spence passer on the tackle, and a gain of 17 yards. So the Jets still battling, though they trail 17-0. Less than 3.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Moore, the second leading receiver for the Jets, 4 catches and 40 yards, and he caught a 48-yard touchdown strike against the Dolphins last week. His 4th TD catch of the year.
Well, the question still remains for the Jets offense. Can they maintain any semblance of a drive past 6 or 7 plays?
First down on the 31. We're going to find out. And here's the draw play to Scotty Graham. Forget it. Mills is right there. Vaughn Johnson, that is, who makes the tackle for no gain.
And there's a guy. You know, we talked about these Saints. You know, Jim Moore brought guys in here like Vaughn Johnson, Sam Mills. You look at their roster, and there's one very key number, and that's 7. You've got Johnson at 7, Swilling at 7, Dombrowski at 7, Bobby Hebert at 7 years. I mean, it goes on and on and on through this entire roster, and Jim Moore has done a great job of building. People criticize him for not winning playoff games. Well, excuse him. All the guy's really done is build a winning organization where all they used to do was lose.
Nagel's pass off the hands of Canley, incomplete. And that will bring up 3rd down and long. We have 2:22 remaining. Of course, you know, you mentioned the fact that Kozlik was not so sure of Browning Nagel at this point because he may have not made the progress he wanted. But when you put a young or rookie quarterback, in essence, with a team that's building, that has really not established themselves, it's not like putting a rookie quarterback with an established club.
Not at all. You know, and it really makes what Brett Favre has done in Green Bay even more amazing. That he's come in and run just as complicated an offense against just as complicated defenses and has gone to the Pro Bowls at number 4 quarterback in the NFC.
3rd down and 11, and they got his leg. Make a wish, and a loss back to the 25 of 5 yards. And it was Wayne Martin.
And there are sacks where guys get free. Then there's just sacks where the entire defensive line just descends and pushes the pocket on top of the quarterback, and where the green guys should be in front of the white guys, the white guys are behind the guys in the green jerseys and have an easy sack.
4th sack of the game for the Saints, and that ties their team record for quarterback sacks in one season with 56, and they have 3 in double figures, including Martin, Jackson, Mills with 1 for a touchdown, and Martin today. They've also yielded the fewest sacks in the NFL, and the last team to have that combination with the New England Patriots back in 1977.
Now things look a little bit confusing here on the field. I mean, don't be deceived, because the Jets have called a timeout. Now the officials are whistling the teams back onto the field, so it's just a little bit back and forth as to what exactly is going on here.
Well, they're not getting their full timeout if they did get one.
Yeah, I mean, they waited, though, a full 30-40 seconds before they restarted the play clock.
Aguiar will be kicking, and Patrick Newman waiting for the return for the Saints. This takes a jet bounce inside the 40-yard line. I think Aguiar has done a fantastic job doing most of his kicking into the wind. In fact, the one time he kicked with the wind in his back, he got off a 22-yard.
I believe he referred to it as a stinky punt, but that was a good punt.
Nice description. The Giant Eagle game as part of a CBS doubleheader, and then the Chicago-Dallas contest in the second half.
You know, after having watched that Buffalo-New Orleans game last week and now watching this game against the Jets here in the Meadowlands, I think Jim Moore and the Saints have got to count their blessings they didn't play Buffalo up in Buffalo. Because you put this kind of an offensive performance together in bad weather against a Buffalo team that will ignore the weather, you will get toasted.
Yeah, they know they're playing a team that's not going to score offensively. Here's the handoff to Hilliard, and he is hit immediately by Bill Pickell. In another minute or so, the Jets will have gone 11 quarters without scoring a touchdown offensively. And so when you have that kind of luxury, you can take some chances and rely on your defense. But in the playoffs, it's not going to be the same way.
Not at all, especially when you look at the teams and the places that the Saints will be playing. I mean, naturally, they'd like to play that first one at home. But after that, it'll be on the road. And you're looking at teams in the playoffs for the NFC like the Dallases and the San Franciscos that have the combination of offenses and defenses.
3rd down and 11 from the 33. 3 wide receivers lined up to the left. Hebert out of the shotgun. Hebert lost the pass to Quinn Early, and he makes the reception into Jet territory. Coors made the hit, but Quinn Early on a 23-yard reception, and the Saints have a first down as we're down to a minute to go in the third.
And we saw Martin coming from the other slot be overthrown and missed on much the same pattern. This ball is just lobbed in. And I mean, that's got some serious potential of what receivers refer to as kind of hospital balls. Those balls that are up high in the air and the receivers have to go up after them. And bad things happen to receivers when they get in the air. And you see Early's a little shaken up after that shot in the back he took.
Still 3 wide receivers to the left. Now they send Torrance Small in motion. First down on the 44 of the Jets. Play fake. Hebert up the middle, and his pass to Eric Martin. He gets by Coors, and still Jets having trouble bringing him down. There's a penalty marker down at the Jet 40. Kyle Clifton on the tackle. If it's against the Jets, it'll be a 20-yard pickup for the Saints. And it's defensive illegal use of the hands against the Jets.
Defensive holding, number 55, penalty refused, first down.
Bobby Houston, the linebacker, declined the penalty, and the Saints have a first down inside the 25.
And a couple of nice plays right in a row by Bobby Hebert in the offense, throwing that ball, getting the one to Early, and then doing what they do best, passing. That's get the ball to Eric Martin on a crossing pattern and let him do something with it. He was one broken tackle away from a touchdown on the last one.
Hebert 15-1 against AFC opponents on the screen pass to Dalton Hilliard. And Hilliard is tackled at the 26 by Mo Lewis, a loss of 3 yards, and that'll be the last play of the third quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter with the score, the Saints 17 and the Jets nothing. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Trailing 17-0, and when this season is over, they will remember not the record, but number 90, Dennis Byrd, as the fans, many of them here at Giant Stadium, paying their tribute. Second down and 13 for the Saints. We start the fourth quarter. 17-0. Dalton Hilliard is the running back, and he gets the handoff. Hilliard gets to the 21, a gain of 5 yards. Bill Pickell and R.J. Coors coming up from the secondary to make the stop on Hilliard.
And right now they're in Morton Anderson field goal range. If they don't get another yard, I think Anderson can bang one in here from about 39 yards into this win.
There's Morton Anderson, who has connected on 19 consecutive field goals. He hit on a 27-yarder in the second quarter. Sam Mills' fumble recovery and a 76-yard return for a score in the first quarter. And Craig Hayward's touchdown in the third. That's been the scoring in this game. Third down and 8 for the Saints. And on the draw play, Hilliard up the middle. And he is stopped, but Anderson is about ready to come on to try another field goal. And he's in perfect position. Bill Pickell, Mario Johnson on the stop. So here is Anderson, who made 20 field goals in a row through the 1985 and 86 seasons, and he's going to try to connect on his 20th in a row here, a 36-yard attempt. Barnhart, the punter, will hold.
And if there's such a thing, this would be a great 36-yard field goal.
It's going to be close, and it's good. Morton Anderson with his second field goal, 36 yards, but 20 successive field goals gives the Saints a 20-0 lead. Play perhaps, or even before, the NFL Coach of the Year, George Seifert of your old team, the Niners.
I think you could go with Ted Marchibroda, but I think Seifert's got a good chance to put Super Bowl number 5 on some fingers in San Francisco this year.
Second down and 1, and the give is to Scotty Graham, and he'll have the first down. Gain of 4 yards for Graham. A lot of candidates this year. Bill Cowher of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bobby Ross in the AFC, and of course Dennis Green and Mike Holmgren in the NFC. But you opt for Seifert, and he's had a lot of different changes of staff. And
I think the most important thing he's done is look at the guys he had last year on that staff in San Francisco and the people he's replaced, Dick. That's a great point. He's not only replaced bodies on the field, but bodies in the booth.
1st and 10 at the 44. Here comes Vaughn Johnson, and Nagel had to rush his throw. It was intended for Burkett, who couldn't hold on to it. And that will bring up 2nd down. And of course, I'm anxious, as our viewers are, to learn about the rest of your award winners in the NFL this year. And there are more to come. So don't go away.
And Kozla not real happy so far in this offense. He knows what he's seen. He's seen his offense go good for 3, 4, 5 plays. But you get past that, past the half dozen, the 7, 8 plays in a drive, and Browning Nagel and this offense just sort of get a collective mind cramp and can't handle it.
Nagel looking to throw, looking right, throwing right, and nearly picked off. That should have been an interception on the pass intended for Burkett. Vince Buck was closest to the ball.
And that was one of those plays, curiously going with the wind, or allegedly going with the wind. The ball sort of hung up and then dropped. Looked like an old knuckleball.
You know, you're talking about the Saints, and we mentioned Seifert and the 49ers. The one team that the Saints talk about wanting to get another shot at would be the San Francisco 49ers.
And I can tell you, this Saints team right now is probably on the top of the list in the NFC of teams other teams don't want to see in the playoffs because they're variable.
3rd down and 10. Nagel's pass intended for Mitchell is incomplete with Toy Cook defending.
And by variable, I mean, Dick, with San Francisco, you know what you're going to get. You're getting a great offense and a pretty good defense. With Dallas, you're getting Irvin and Smith, and you're getting Aikman and that defense with Charles Haley. The Saints, you're never really quite sure, outside of the fact you know you're going to see a good defense, what offense is going to show up. You're really never quite sure if Hebert is going to be there, if he's going to be on. If he's on, you got a problem. If Hayward or Hilliard are on, you got a problem. People don't like the unknown. They spend so much time breaking things down by computer and scouting and everything else. You can't plug that into the computer, and that scares people.
Jets with 4th down and 10 are going to run the play from the Saint 44, trailing by 20 points. Nagel's pass is caught by Burkett, and he's not going to get to the sticks, as he is totally smothered by 3 defenders by the Saints, led by Cedric Mack and Sam Mills. And so the New Orleans Saints will take over on downs after the 8-yard pickup. Well, what about Rookie of the Year for Randy Cross? Who do you pick to be your NFL Rookie of the Year?
Well, I don't care what the league says. If you're in your first year of actually playing football, in my opinion, you're a rookie. And you can't find better guys than these 2 guys right here. Brett Favre, who's played great for the Packers as a young quarterback. I mean, you see what Nagel hasn't done? Well, Brett Favre has done it. And for the San Francisco 49ers, Ricky Watters has been that missing ingredient since Roger Craig hasn't been that offense that they've had. He's got 998 yards going into Monday night's game, and he'll get his 1,000.
Saints taking over on downs, and Vaughn Dunbar comes in at running back and will lose yardage on 1st down. Jets defense still playing very hard. In fact, they deserve a pat on the back for the way they've hustled throughout this game. 20-0 score is not symbolic of the way the Jets have played defensively. A loss of 1 with Kurt Barber and Mario Johnson making the play.
And you talk about, you know, a bad loss, and a bad loss for the Jets happened incredibly early for them. I believe it was the 2nd game when Jeff Lageman went down with that knee injury. You know, he wasn't so much their best defensive player. He was their best football player on the entire team and their biggest leader.
2nd down and 11 on the 36. Here's Dunbar. Gets a couple off the left side, and Mo Lewis on the tackle. You know, we talked about, you know, Byrd, the big tragic injury. You mentioned Lageman, Lonnie Young out. What about the running backs? I mean, when you have, you know, Freeman McNeil on injured reserve, Hector we haven't seen, Brad Baxter, you go down the list, Al Toon retired because of the post-concussion syndrome. You look at all of those things adding up, and I don't know if any club has ever had as many or as severe problems injury-wise as this team has.
Well, Bruce used some rather colorful terms to describe it. Let's paraphrase and he said it was a nightmare. this entire season from top to bottom. You could find nothing positive outside the fact that his guys haven't quit.
3rd down and 9, pressure on Hebert, and the pass is tipped and it's intercepted. Here come the Jets, and it's Marcus Turner returning. So the 3rd interception of the game by the New York Jets, and that was Marcus Turner with his 2nd pick of the year. Down 20-0, just 1 quarter to play and the season is over, and they're playing it like it's the first game of the year.
Hebert's getting a blitz, gets it off quick on a timing pattern, and that's just basically inexcusable. I don't care if it's cold, I don't care if it's windy. If a quarterback under pressure can get a ball to you in that good a position, Small ought to catch that ball that's thrown right into his hands.
None of these comments are meant to say that the Jets are a better team than their record indicates, but they're hustling, and that usually spills over into the following season. 1st down on the 34-yard line of the Saints. Under 10 minutes remaining, 9:55. Pass caught by Terrence Mathis. He hasn't had many today, and a pickup of 7 yards with Jimmy Spencer on the stop. Mentioned high expectations, 5-0 in preseason, losing their first 4 games of the year. And the fact is, this team, talent-wise, was just not ready to contend for a lead in the AFC East. 2nd down and 3. Nagel's pass, caught by Rob Moore inside the 15 and down to about the 10.
I mean, just look at the body language of Browning Nagel right now on the field and the way he's running around in this huddle and running this team. You could just see the confidence starting to flow into his body. And Bruce Coslett says that's one of the things I like about Nagel. I see some good things or some things at times that bother me and he makes mistakes, but I see these flashes and these periods of brilliance in Browning Nagel, and that's why he thinks he's his quarterback, is the things that he can do and those flashes of greatness he can see.
They're on the 11-yard line, 1st down. They can get a 1st down without scoring, and a running play. And this is Sheldon Canley. And Canley will be stopped for no gain by Vaughn Johnson. The Saints defense, as they usually do, will stiffen as you get close to the goal line. It's not going to be easy for the Jets at this point. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
This is a proud group, and obviously the Jets' best chance, I think, of getting into the end zone is through the air. We haven't seen them involving the tight ends much at all. Been a few passes. Mitchell's in now at right tight end.
2nd down and 10. Ball at the 11-yard line. Nagel with time, and his pass juggled and caught by Rob Moore, and he gets to about the 6-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 5. Vince Buck and Toy Cook combined to bring down Moore.
5-yard gain.
Play coming in from A.B. Brown, the running back, who checked in. Jets offense has not scored a touchdown in the last 11 quarters.
And that starts to play on your brain, Dick, when you're in an offense that just can't get things going. And the Jets have moved the ball. They've looked in flashes impressive today. This is the first maintained drive they've had.
3rd down and 5. Nagel still on his feet. Throws, intercepted in the end zone. Now by Toy Cook, and that will snuff out the Jet bid. 2nd interception of the game by Toy Cook. And the Jets come up empty, and the New Orleans Saints looking for the shutout, and they still have it going.
Youth can be exuberance. Youth can be athletic ability. And you see the athletic ability of Browning Nagel with that bad knee still getting away. Now, youth can also be mental mistakes, and that is a mental mistake. You don't throw the ball in the end zone in the heart of a defense.
A dozen of the Argyle socks and the striped shirt.
I admire a guy.
On 1st down, tackled by Mo Lewis after a gain of 8 yards. The New Orleans Saints with Toy Cook, the pair of interceptions. Mills fumble recovery for a touchdown. 4 sacks by the Saints. You get the idea. They have not had a shutout this season. With all their great defensive play, they have not had a shutout, looking for their first of the year. leading 20-0 here with 6:33 remaining in the game. Second down and 2, New Orleans on their 28-yard line. Here's Dunbar pushing the pile, and he may have a first down for the Saints, and he does. And a pickup of 3. Tough day for Browning Nagel with the interceptions, having the ball stripped away for a touchdown and injuring and twisting his knee today. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League and CBS. This telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the New York Jets, and the National Football League is prohibited. Did not have anything near capacity today for the Jets, and many of the people who were here have long since departed. First and 10 on the 31-yard line. Out of the I formation, Dunbar trying to cut right, nothing doing, and he'll lose on the play. Eric McMillan and Mo Lewis. And a couple of heated tempers in this cold weather.
McMillan's got to find himself a little bit smaller guy to be picking on going after Cooper there. You got to find one of those running backs. I know I know he's a veteran. I know he's got a good career here in New York, but life can get a little hazardous picking on those guys 6'6", 6'7", about 300 pounds.
I think Cooper was just staring him down. He didn't like Cooper. Didn't look like he was going to tangle up with him.
Well, it's kind of like being screamed at by a fly for an offensive lineman to be attacked by a defensive back. You know, you look at him like you're saying what?
Second down and 11. There's the time remaining in the game. Dunbar tries the left side. Doesn't have much success there. And that'll bring up 3rd and long. Saints defense looking for its first shutout of the year. Closest they came this year. They beat the Redskins on November 23rd, 20-3. And on 3 other occasions limited the opposition to under 10 points in a game. Ricky Jackson, 34-year-old veteran. He came in the same time Lawrence Taylor did, a year after Mike Singletary, and Taylor may retire. Singletary is retiring, and Jackson keeps rolling along.
He's an amazing guy, and I think physically he's actually gotten stronger and has not lost much speed.
3rd down and 10 for the Saints. Tommy Stowers in at tight end, and Glenn in motion, and Hebert has open field in front. Now decides to throw, and it's tipped. He was going for Hobie Brenner, his tight end, and Kyle Clifton did a good job defending downfield. It'll be 4th down for the Saints, and Tommy Barnhart is in to kick it away. Terrence Mathis will go deep for the Jets.
And now Barnhart gets his challenge. He's going to be punting this thing into that wind. If I was Mathis, I'd move way up, move up about another 15 yards.
Good kick by Barnhart. Mathis will let it bounce over his head, and the Saints will down the ball inside the 25. So Barnhart did his job. 45-yard kick into the wind. 20-0. The New Orleans Saints are 3:29 away from home field. For over 40 years is broadcasting his last game. He's the play-by-play announcer for the New York Jets, was for the New York Giants. Jeff Blake is in at quarterback, and of course is one who grew up. There's a marker down listening to Marty Glickman do football and basketball games. You kind of learn and listen for so many years, and you kind of get the style of a guy, Randy Cross.
Number 66 offense, 5 yards.
I'm going to have my chance here, Marty Glickman, to give my version of how I listen to Marty Glickman do games over the years.
Well, I think there's very few people that have come through this business, probably in goodness, almost since he's been in the business, that haven't had an encounter of one kind or another with Marty Glickman.
First down and 15 to go for the New York Jets on the 19-yard line. Jeff Blake is the quarterback, going back to pass, back to his own 10, and he drills the ball. It's tipped off of Johnny Mitchell's hand, incomplete toward the far sidelines, and that will bring up 3rd down for the New York Jets. He always would describe the color uniform. New York Jets in their brilliant Kelly green jerseys with white numerals and white pants with a green stripe. The New Orleans Saints in their traveling white jerseys with black numerals and gold pants. I think I sound like Snagglepuss. Marty Glickman, a legend in New York radio, basketball and football all these years. This is his last broadcast here. Second down and 15 from the 19 for the Jets. Jeff Blake in for Browning Nagel, looking for a receiver. Hit, fumbles the ball, and the Saints had it and lost it, and the Jets maintain possession at the 24-yard line. And it was Jim Wilkes who put the big pressure in on Blake, a rookie from East Carolina. And Cadigan slow getting up. He was the guard who has been forced to playing right tackle for the injured Irv Eatman.
Holding that left shoulder, and you know, defensive players love to see young and inexperienced quarterbacks in the game because they know they can come after him, and when they come after him, the ball's going to be available. And right there, the ball's available, hung out to dry there on the right side by Blake, and Wilkes just comes in and swats it away. And just by the virtue of a bounce going the wrong way, this is still the Jets' ball, but by all rights, it should be the Saints.
It'll be 3rd down and 9 from the 25-yard line. So Cadigan is out of the ball game. And he is replaced by Brett Miller, former Atlanta Falcon. 3rd and 9 at the 25. 2:43 remaining in the game. Blake nearly smothered, and he's going to go deep. Farrah Moore into double coverage and overthrows the receiver. Atkins and Reginald Jones were back deep. That will bring up 4th down for the New York Jets.
Well, Blake definitely went deep. I mean, way deep. There was nobody going to catch that ball.
So the New Orleans Saints 2 minutes and 34 seconds away from wrapping up the home field in the wild card next week, likely against the Philadelphia Eagles, as Aguiar gets set to kick to Patrick Newman. And more than anything else, the Saints, who will equal a franchise record with their 12th wins today, 12-3, and looking to win their first playoff game. That's the one hurdle they have to get over. Aguiar with an end-over-end kick. And Newman is going to let it bounce, and it will be downed at the 32. Randy, the comeback player of the year, always a good selection. And so I know you've given it some thought. The NFL comeback player of the year is Bruce Smith of the Buffalo Bills.
A guy last year in the Super Bowl dominated by Jim Lachey of the Redskins with that bad knee. Had a full season to rehab it, come back. Naturally, he's after quarterbacks, and he's causing havoc in the backfield. But more importantly, he's been a great re-addition to the run defense of the Buffalo Bills.
There was a penalty, I believe unsportsmanlike conduct was called against the New York Jets. And Eric McMillan, who was arguing with Richard Cooper, to use a polite phrase, in the last series, might have been the guilty party here, and that'll be a 15-yard penalty marked off.
And with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left.
Oh.
15 yards from the dead ball spot, 1st down.
All right, Larry. Larry Nemmer's our referee.
And with this much time left on the clock, Dick, just look for Bobby Hebert in this offense to turn around, give the ball to a running back, and let him run. The ball will not be in the air. That's if he does that. I mean, the clock will stop here in 24 seconds. You know, this offense is just pure pounded at this point.
1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. 2:24 remaining in the game. Vaughn Dunbar and Craig Hayward, the running backs. Hayward has scored a touchdown today for the Saints. Going to be Dunbar with Hayward blocking in front of him. Nice to have a guy like that blocking for you. And a good gain on 1st down of 6 yards. And the tackle made by Kurt Barber and Kevin Porter.
And it's not very many running backs in the league have the luxury of 3 guards on the offense. They got a right guard, a left guard, and a back guard.
And the clock now stops with 2:07 remaining. R.J. Coors shaken up, and he's leaving the field. And Mike Grimm will replace him in the lineup right now. It'll be 2nd down and 4 at the 45-yard line. Talked about the Saints looking to win a playoff game finally. They're 0-3 since they first made the playoffs back in '87. Interestingly enough, in 2 of those 3 games, they have been home at the Superdome. So they're going to be home next week. 2-minute warning here at Giant Stadium, and we'll return.
Quarterback in the league in 1992, leading a team with the best record in the league in 1992. What is everybody talking about? How much playing time will Joe Montana get Monday night? The guy gets no respect, but has put a great season together, and you got to give this guy his due. He has been the impact player, I think, in the league this year.
I mean, he really has the guy that generated an offense that people say you really can't stop all the elements of it, and his running may be the toughest of them all to stop. Don't forget our post-game show with Greg and Terry. They'll have the plays of the year coming up after this game. 2nd down and 4 at the 45 with 2 minutes remaining in the game. Vaughn Dunbar close to the first down yardage. And while we have a moment, we want to thank some people who we've worked with all season long, and a terrific job they have done. So our game produced by Mark Wolf and directed by Mike Arnold. They've been a great team in the truck this year. Associate Director Jim Rickhoff and our broadcast associate Jeff Gershengorn. Coordinating producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann, and the director of the NFL Today is Duke Struck, and the senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin. Minute and 20 seconds remaining to the Jets season. They will finish 4-12 on the year after going 8-8 last year. A lot on the spot for them next season. 1st and 10 at the 41. Here's Vaughn Dunbar trying to go outside, and he gets inside the 40-yard line. We also want to thank Marty Aronoff, who has done a terrific job up here in the booth, along with Dave Corris throughout this football season. 2-yard game by Dunbar, under a minute remaining.
And it would appear that the Saints obviously will win this game, but importantly for them, they're going to play at home in a playoff game. Remember back in '87, they were one of the teams in the league. Everybody was afraid of them. Minnesota went down there and beat them in the Dome. The most important thing for having a home game for the Saints isn't so much as being home, it's their defense. A great edge for their defense and the ability to rush a passer when you can't hear what you're doing, you can't audible, you can't do a lot of things. That's a big edge.
And they lost to Atlanta last year, so being home is not automatic. And the way the Philadelphia Eagles have been coming on, that could be a very tough test indeed. But that's going to do it. The New Orleans Saints and Bobby Hebert win. Hebert 16-1 now against the AFC. And the Saints with their first shutout of the season, the final score 20-0.
But the question will be for Jim Moore, not only who you're going to play, if you play Philadelphia, who everyone started the year being afraid of, which Eagle team will you see? Will you see the one that's quiet and getting along, or will you see the one that's stabbing each other in the back and not really enjoying life too much in general?
And they could play Green Bay as well. So the final score, 20-0. The Saints beat the Jets. For Randy Cross, this is Dick Stockton. Let's go to our New York studios for the NFL Today postgame show with Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw. Take it away, gentlemen.
All right, Dick, Randy, thanks very much. Hello again, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. He is
Terry Bradshaw.